There is an old saying that goes, a relative is a relative, and wealth and silk are divided. If relatives do not share wealth, pursuing profit is human nature. After all, therefore, once it involves one's own interests, people will become difficult to speak up and become more selfish, whether it's family members, loved ones, or friends. As a human nature, pursuing profit is not a mistake in itself. But if we always do things that harm others, and benefit ourselves for the sake of profit, and do not show any affection, if being your family member, lover, or friend comes with all your calculations, and your own interests are lost, who is willing to treat you sincerely? Money and love, which is more important or less important, must have a scale in everyone's heart. Only by adhering to one's own principles and understanding how to cherish each other's emotions. Not long ago, Mr. Z's mother passed away due to illness. Mr. Z's self-statement: I am 55 years old this year, and the second in my family. There is a brother above me, who is 3 years older than me. I originally had a younger sister, although my older brother is only 3 years older than me. He took on the responsibility and shared the worries of his parents from a very young age. From the moment I remember, I have been my brother's follower, following him wherever he goes. At that time, I didn't know how to dress. He dressed me up, according to my mother. When I was younger, my brother helped my parents with household chores, fed chickens and ducks, watered the vegetable garden and cleaned the house, washed and cooked. He loved me and doesn't need me to snatch anything good. He always takes the initiative to push it in front of me and doesn't allow anyone to bully me. But if I provoke him, and step on his bottom line, there are 2 things that I still remember vividly about my childhood. One is when I was in 4th grade. I followed several classmates to play by the Yangtze River, due to the hot weather. At the beginning, I still remember my brother's warning that the Yangtze River is not a fun place to swim. If you dare to go, I will kill you. I dare not go down, but I cannot withstand everyone's urging, in order not to become a coward in their mouth. Fortunately, several adults passed by and saw several children swimming in the river. They were scared and not only dragged us up. That day, my parents sat there. When I was in middle school, I was studying in the town and was bullied by several senior students. Not only do they often beat me, but they also ask me for money and threaten me not to tell my parents. I mustered up the courage and told my brother. So he rushed up alone to fight with several of them. Despite being beaten black and blue, he remained fearless and spoke harshly to them, saying, if you dare to touch my brother's finger again, I won't end up with you. If you dare to bully my brother. Although my brother lost the game, my brother stayed by my side and protected me until the year I entered high school. That year, my brother also took the college entrance examination. But he failed, which is actually quite normal. It was not easy to get into university in that era, due to my brother's good academic performance. I urgently hope that my parents, who are a college student at home, can persuade him to continue his studies for another year. However, my brother refused and suggested going out with relatives to find a job. The second year's grades are better than mine. With the full support of my parents and brother, I was admitted to university, became a people's teacher, stayed in the city, and was able to change my fate. However, I thought about helping my brother, and my mother also spoke to me. But my brother refused. I'm your brother. How can I ask for his own brother's money? Take it back, and live your life well. Don't let me worry. 28 years ago, my 30-year-old brother was able to marry a wife, and had 2 sons after marriage. Out of guilt towards my eldest son, my parents have been living with my brother, and his family of 4. I fully support this and have explained it to my wife, who was initially dissatisfied with my parents not helping us take care of our children. Fortunately, my parents raised 2 children for my sister-in-law and also raised them at their home. Although when my father passed away 6 years ago, I took my mother over to live at home for a year. And my wife also agreed to keep my mother for the elderly. But after the Chinese New Year, my brother still picked up my mother and said, Mom is used to spending time with us, and doesn't adapt to the climate conditions here. Besides, during the critical period of my mother's illness, It was both my brother and sister-in-law who were taking care of her. However, I was too busy with work to take care of her. Not long ago, my mother left, and our family of 3 went to mourn. Together with my brother. After finishing Mom's affairs, our 2 families got together for dinner. While we were eating, the big brother suddenly took out a passbook and said, before I could react, my wife instead questioned my older brother. Isn't that right, older brother? After listening to her words, before I could speak, my wife continued, look, you have 2 sons and we only have 1 daughter. The pressure is already lower than you, and our financial conditions are already better than yours. When you get old, you don't have a pension. We have a pension. And when you get old, we have insurance. The most important thing is that you take care of your parents, and are responsible for taking care of them. Anyway, after listening to my wife's words, I couldn't help but feel ashamed. After decades of marriage, I felt very moved, and quickly stood up to support my wife, saying, yes, the big brother, my 2 nephews will still marry a wife in the future. The dowry money and the money for buying a house are a large sum, and this 400,000 may not be enough. You stay here? I think if parents have a spirit in heaven. The elder brother firmly disagrees, believing that the average distribution of property is a matter of principle. He insists on giving us half, which has made my wife and I anxious. The wife even puts our savings book in her sister-in-law's arms and says, we don't support the elderly and share our property. Don't we get stabbed in the spine by relatives and friends when it comes to it? Brother and sister-in-law, please be good and don't let us be scolded. In the end, we won. Big brother and I hugged each other and cried bitterly, thanking each other and keeping the money. The sister-in-law explained to her 2 nephews, in the future, you should treat your cousin as your own sister and protect her. If anyone dares to bully your cousin, you should stand up for her. The 2 nephews nodded their heads like rattles and made promises to my daughter. Looking at the next generation,